Hello, everybody. We are back, getting ready for our third series, and we got fresh outfit changes. No!
You gotta be kidding me, man. How do you keep copying me?
I put a jacket on. I
so
thought
did
there's no way.
I surely.
So why do you have a coat on?
You guys live in LA. You don't need jackets. What is this?
I'm just
What
saying,
is this? What are we doing, guys?
I don't know.
What are we doing?
I am very upset by this series of events. All I can say is clearly we need to coordinate better going forward.
We need to
It's
talk.
hot.
I think we need to
take
talk.
my
That's
jacket
the
off
thing.
because it was hot.
Yeah, fair.
Honestly, I
That's
kind of
what
like the look
thinking.
of mine. Got a
Yeah,
little
I do
dabbing
too.
penguin and everything.
Oh my god, is that like is that the League Penguin? Like, you know, the emote?
It is. It is in fact the League Penguin.
All right, cool.
But
When
okay, you know what? That's enough. Enough about us.
That's it.
Let's
That's
focus.
it.
Yeah,
Let's focus
right,
our attention on the next series ahead of us, because we do have one final series of the day between FLYC and TSM. Let's take a look at the schedule to catch everybody up. What we've had so far: Wildcard versus AOE. Banger series right there. Wildcard continuing their undefeated streak. I get one banger per stream, by the way. That was my one.
Only
I'm
one.
using it there. Yep. Golden Guardians and Fear splitting their series, and now FlyQuest.
Does that mean I get a banger?
SM Challengers. Yeah. Let's say each of us gets a banger. How about
Okay, then
that?
I want
Everyone
this
gets
one to be a banger.
Well, okay, but you preloaded your banger. Now,
Yeah, so?
now you can't say if it was definitively one or not. All right. Well,
All right.
okay,
right.
beat down. We'll get there eventually.
We'll work on it.
Well, yeah, we'll workshop that. Let's start talking about the teams, talk about the rosters, starting with TSM Challengers. A lot of returning names here, mainstays in the North American competitive scene, and Mazel, some that we've seen, obviously in LCS, but even then back in Academy, and a lot of returning names as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have the veterans obviously coming into it, but Hanser, Svenskeren, Wild Turtle will be there. I think big focus will be Doxa and Chime, right? Chime getting the call up to the LCS squad last year, also now coming in to help out the TSM Challenger squad in the early parts of the season. Doxa, though, getting the opportunity here with TSM. Actually incredible stuff. I know we were memeing, making a picture that had like 1 million faces of Doxa, but
Oh yeah.
if Doxa has 1 million fans, I'm one of them.
No,
if
there
he
it
has
is.
one fan,
No, you're taking my
I'm
bit.
one.
I have a bit prepared. You can't just take my bit from me.
I just did. I don't know.
I mean, to be
Well, we're
fair,
gonna do the bit twice then.
we should, because Doxa is that kind of player who we need to be highlighting, I think. Especially because I think the most exciting part about it was he was brought on last second. They weren't planning to have him, but the need arose, and Doxa's worked with this org before in TSM Amateur 2 summers ago.
The craziest thing is that Doxa is a last-minute substitute for Triple, who was initially announced on the roster. Now Doxa's in playing instead. And this, honestly, to me, makes it so much more hype. Because, like, no shade, but, like, Doxa is a player that I'm very excited to see the development and growth of in his career. And also, notable Chime substituting in support for right now. Will not be sticking around, hopefully, for too many more weekends, as he is going to be playing on LCS. Yes, Mazel.
I will just say something from Doxa, right? Hearing from what he wants to kind of approach this year with is improving his side laning and to be more selfish as well, which I think is something interesting for Doxa.
Okay. Good to note. Of course, the big returning names in Hanser, Svenskeren, Wild Turtle. Names that have been mainstays, been performing pretty well so far at the beginning of the split. And honestly, I'm just excited because now I hopefully will get opportunities to flex off against Hanser more. That was probably the highlight of my career when I
My Christmas card.
Pretty much at this point. But we will have the opportunity to actually take a look at some of TSM's earlier games. They did go 1-1 in their series that they have played so far. They were up against Dignitas Challenger, so we can take a look at some of the gameplay from that one. Ethan, I want to get some more of your thoughts on the form that TSM are coming into in the spring split so far.
So I think the thing we really got to keep an eye on with TSM is, like, yeah, we got a lot of returning players and players, you know, with a lot of experience. But when you look at Doxa and when you look at, for the moment it's Chime, but it's going to be Draku, this is how a lot of challenger teams often have built in the past. 3 veterans surrounding 2 developing players, and Doxa, I think, is a prospect, especially that we know if you followed the NA Amateur or the NA Semi-Pro pipeline in North America, he's someone that you would know about, especially if you watched him play over at CLOL. So it's really great that he gets his shot at this level for the first time, and I'm excited to see what Dragku's going to bring to the table when they get there. And I mean, if you look at the experience, I mean, Hanser in particular, I think has played quite well since he came back. He maintained a very high elo before he had come back to comp play, and his comp play has been looking good.
But their opponents today will be FLYC Challengers. The roster on your screen right there. Similar story, almost in a way, of a couple returning names. Maybe less on the LCS side, but definitely here on the Academy side. Philip really started to make a name for himself in the scene as a player that had a lot of promise. Moved up to the LCS level very quickly, much faster than a lot of other players, you know, general timeline trajectory. Now back here on the Challengers roster alongside UG and Spyrex. These three were on the roster throughout last year, Mazel, and the core kind of sticking together, plays pretty well together.
Yeah, I mean, they've been together for a little while. I think the biggest thing, especially when you're talking to Spyrex, is the familiarity with them, but as well as the friendship that has been developed between these guys, right? Like, they came into this year saying we wanted to play together, and that's a big reason why they are all on this team. I mean, they obviously signed to the team for a while, but getting the team to have a friendship mechanism to it is super huge. And also hearing that Keetong is actually really, really good friends with Philip and UG as a whole, I think it just adds to that cohesion for FlyQuest.
That I did not have. Also, shout out to Masu, who is playing on very high ping as of right now. Was piloting yesterday's matches on Sivir first. Didn't look as strong, but then his Lucian game just slapped yesterday. And I'm sure that we'll have an opportunity to actually take a look at some of the footage there. But Masu kind of turned my head. At first, I was almost like, all right, we shouldn't have high expectations for a player that's playing on not ideal ping.
Yeah.
With carries in the other lanes like Philip, like Spyrex, where I expect Challengers to put their attention. But props to Masu and Keetong for really stepping up when it was most needed. Beatdown.
Right, and I'm glad we're talking about Masu because he's a player I'm most excited about on this roster. I mean, you look across the board, I think this is a very exciting roster overall, and FlyQuest Challengers is someone we could be expecting to contest for the top. But Masu is most exciting to me because last year was his first year in competition. Period. He had not been on a team before, only played solo queue, ended up joining Team Pending. I think it was because Robbie and Kitsuo found him on solo queue, and he just popped off in spring when he was playing those weak side champions like Senna, Ezreal. He had a fantastic start to the split. Yeah, he kind of fell out a bit on summer, when the meta kind of changed a bit and shifted towards more hyper carry 80 carries. But I think given what we've seen in his age, it's already enough to be excited about a player like him and see how far he's going to be able to go.
Also, no bias that he's Canadian, right? Absolutely not.
No bias, I'm sure.
What? He's Canadian? I didn't
you didn't even notice.
What?
Really?
Come on, what are you talking about, Hank? Come on, man.
Also, Philip. Shout out to Philip. They got two Canadians on this team, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That used to be like a power level that we would do back, you know, in the old days of amateur and like big league days. We would rate teams power level based on how many Canadians they had on them.
Really?
Honestly, I think that we should bring that back.
I think we should too. I would love that. Because the more Canadians, the better your team is, obviously. Keep up, Mazel.
It's a generalization, but I mean, it's kind of surprising how often that would check out. I do want to highlight the mid lane matchup, though. Doxa versus Spyrex is going to be very exciting.
Agreed.
And I gotta echo Mazel's sentiment. He took it from me. But if Doxa has 1 million fans, and I'm one of them, if he's got one fan, I'm that one. If Doxa has no fans, it's because I am dead. Doxa supremacy, baby! Let's go! Pick and ban is ready, so I'm going to pass it over to Mazel and Beatdown to get us underway.
Thank you so much, Kakus, and all the faces of Doxa as I still see them on my screen, thankfully. We're getting into the first game of this last series here. We got TSM Challengers on the blue side, FlyQuest Challengers on the red side. We get the Challengers a matchup here. Both teams coming into this one, 1-1, wanting to end on a high note here. And obviously some pretty meta picks, probably going to be the big focus early on in this ban phase, as Yumi banned by TSM and Maokai banned by FlyQuest.
Unless you're playing like Wild Card or a team like that where there are very specific things you need to remove, you can just ban the meta stuff. You know, your Yumis, your Maokais, and all things like that. So I imagine things are going to mostly be pretty standard. I'm interested to see what both of these teams are prioritizing, because even though we kind of joke about how stale the bot lane meta is, it's a lot of enchanters, a lot of hyper carries. I mean, seeing the Sivir is definitely a bit of a new one for me over these last couple of days. That is a little more fun. I mean, it's no Draven, but I'm excited to see what these teams are going to prioritize.
Yeah, I mean, the Heimerdinger, I was going to say better not make it through. We've seen so many dirty things with the Heimerdinger.
It's pretty good.
The Lucian ban, though, is going to be a good one as a mainstay as well, to kind of keep that ADC pool a bit fresh and funky. I'm wondering if FlyQuest want to target more of Svenskaren's champion pool, even though that'd be maybe a little bit difficult. It's going to be a Sejuani ban.
I mean, that's a lot of what Svenskaren's been playing since yesterday. I was going to say the last couple days, but yesterday was their first series. And that's also a popular jungler overall. So Svenskaren, who I think is really good at setting the early pathing, setting up plays, is probably just going to end up looking towards something like the Vi. Ashe first pick was not on my bingo card. So that is interesting. But I mean, it lanes decently well into Varus, if I remember correctly. And it's something you can flex into the support role because Ashe support is good. I don't like it, but it's the truth.
But it's the truth. Well, we get the Vi for Yuji, so a lot of setup potential there at least. I'm wondering what we actually get for TSM here, if they want to kind of focus on these solo laners or try and get that priority in the jungle. It looks like it will be Svenskaren's priority that takes main hold, and it's the Viego. Locked it.
So I haven't seen very much of that one, but I think it's still in a pretty good spot, especially when you have like Wukong, Sedge, Maokai taken out of the picture and of what's remaining. I like Viego. He's flexible, can farm, can have that early impact. You love to see that. Okay, it is Ashe support. I don't know why I'm excited about it, but it's good because, you know, you have a lot of skirmishing power early on. You have a lot of poke. You're gonna get pushed. It's not gonna be fun. But I imagine FlyQuest challengers will mitigate that with a Lulu pick or something, because, you know, what else would they pick, Mazel?
What else would they pick here? I mean, to be honest, there's no choices left. The Jax does get locked in.
Let's go! I like that way better.
Yeah.
I mean, so Lulu's gonna get banned, but it's okay.
But it's okay. I actually really like this. Obviously, since the mid-scope update has been very, very strong, but I really like that Philip is taking the onus on picking up the Jax here.
I do too, and it's blind no less. It's in a pretty good spot, like you said. It's good in lane, and I think it's something that Hanser was able to run very effectively yesterday, and that's why I like that you immediately grab that top on 3 and take away some of the really strong other ones. Like, oh, look at that, Cassante out of the picture. Really nicely done by FlyQuest.
I love it, honestly. The Gragas also banned away against Hanser, as well as the Karma being banned by TSM against Kitong, as well as potentially against Spyrax. We did have seen Karma come through, as well as the Kassadin, which rightfully banned away at this point, honestly, as we've seen so much strength coming in the late game, just that insurance policy in the mid lane.
100%. And now we're seeing it's going to be a support pick here. Last pick is going for Spyrax in the mid lane. The Nautilus is definitely an interesting one, but you do want a little extra engage here, and it just kind of has that. When you pair, any
Barry was last
support.
Game.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You pair any support with any kind of engage, or someone with big CC with a Vi, it's not fun for whoever gets caught. So you have one immobile person in Ashe and kind of immobile in Callista, but you know how she is. If you get on top of them, you're staying on top of them. And that's the big thing TSM are looking to avoid. That's why the Gragas was banned away. So I think something for Hanser in the top side needs to be something that can kind of help. We haven't seen much Ornn, but I think it's in a pretty good spot. Gnar is also very acceptable. Lock it in. Lock it in. I like that.
Hey. Okay. All right, we get the Hanser Gnar nice. Going up against Philip Jax, which I think we'll have to keep a really big eye on that top lane matchup.
I agree. It will be kind of tough early on just because of how squishy Gnar is in the beginning, but I think it's really good because you offer good side laning later on into the game. And another thing I like is that, you know, when it comes to the Rift Herald fight, Gnar is like one of the best top laners there is for that. So it's a great thing to see. Spyrax! Knew I was casting. Okay.
Let's go.
I like that. That's going to be kind of fun. So you do have...
I'm really excited.
it's good because, I mean, it's just about continuously. Like, it's the all-in here. You have a lot of squishy members on the other side. If you get the timing right, even Haunter technically counts along those lines. So I imagine FlyQuest Challengers, pretty early game focused on that bot side because you have something like the Varus. You are looking for these all-ins. I bet Yuji's going to path down, and Ketong's immediately just going to be like, oh, jungler? All right, go.
Yeah, a little side note for Philip going into Haunter. I actually got to reach out to Philip, hear some answers back from him, and one of them was, you know, what do you feel like going into TSM, and especially Haunter is going to be like? And he said, I've always looked up to Haunter. You know, he's always, he feels like Haunter's always been a lot better than the community perception of him is, and he feels like this moment is really for him to stand up to Haunter, to be able to say that, you know, Haunter is a win condition for TSM. He did not win through me. So I'm actually really interested to see how the Jax lines up with that kind of ideal for FlyQuest. But as a whole, the team for FlyQuest saw some struggles in closing out games with leads last time around. And I think that's going to be more so on the docket here for them to focus on. As we get into game number 1, we get the opposite side. 5-man stacks, and if you go ahead and spam in chat either one of these monikers, the FLYC or TSMC, see who wins. Maybe the percentages will change up a little bit in FlyQuest's favor.
Well, considering how many TSM fans are, I don't see that happening, but I think FlyQuest is being slept on a little bit, but it'll be up to them to prove chat wrong, and not us, Vizel. Because, you know, we are just the casters. We are just the observers, if you will. Even though observers is also another role.
Our observers are not us. We have real observers. Right. We have... I believe... I just want to make sure before I say it wrongly. I know it was Mermage, and then... Oh my goodness, Zelfers! Zelfers, those are our 2 observers, so huge shout out to y'all.
Yeah,
really.
I definitely am not trying to take your job. You can have it. It's hard.
So let's go ahead and break down this early game for both sides. We've seen some serious strength from FlyQuest in the early games. Again, they just want to figure out how to close out those early games. And I think we also have seen a lot of in-lane strength from TSM.
We have. And I mean, we especially look at the top side again. I think Haunter, in both games played yesterday, really strong laning into Concept since the matchup was against... no, it was into Hoon. Excuse me, because they were playing Dignitas. But now it's going to be a test. See if Haunter can kind of keep up that level in the laning phase, especially because this is what FlyQuest wants to be doing. And that's why I like what I'm seeing from Yuji. It is the first clear on the top side and then pathing towards the bottom because you do want to play for this lane. But I like what Masu and Ketong are doing. I mean, one, it's kind of hard for them to really hard shove this wave and force level 2, but also because your jungler's on the way down, you don't actually want to do that.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little bit more careful in terms of where you're putting your focus, where your kind of map rotations are going. We'll see Fitzgaren just going for that full clear. Does get spotted out by the ward from Spyrax, so that's kind of nice. It'll just be a pretty calm and early jungle for both these sides, and I think that's where we can pick a little bit of time to talk about each one of these junglers, where Fitzgaren, on one hand, has a ton of experience coming into this one, and Yuji, a little bit less so, but the consistency of being under the FlyQuest banner for another year and having consistent teammates as well.
Right, and I mean, on the other hand, Yuji... Oh, wait a minute. Oh,
Doxa! Oh, first blood. Spyrax is traded back and forth.
Wow, really nicely done. I mean, Spyrax ends up getting a little more gold because of the first blood. Yuji not able to do anything. Uh-oh. Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal. Just because of the fact that Yuji took the time going for the invade. Svenskaren got to full clear. Now with this bot lane pushing, it's going to be really easy for him to go ahead and take this buff. And it's tough. You're playing Vi. These are the kind of early plays you want to make, but it feels really bad when it doesn't work because, you know, they just catch the tail end of that play, and there's nothing FlyQuest can do about it. It's just going to be about looking for the next one. And oh, we got a cinematic.
We do indeed. This is the kill in the mid lane. Traded back and forth, but great stuff. Originally, just a bit of aggression coming out from Spyrax. Tries to get out, but damage is already done.
Right. And overall, still really nice. Both laners had TP. So it's kind of like almost like nothing happened.
Quick backs, quick backs.
Yeah, exactly. It's about the fast backs, Marcel. You understand the strategy. You get it. And it'll be interesting because Silas overall, later on into the game, if things are even, starts to become more favored. But, you know, when you're past 6 in that early to mid game, Sparx will have a pretty good amount of time where he can get the better of Doxa. He can move with his jungler to be able to get on top of other members. Again, the Ashe support means you're very squishy, and you aren't an enchanter where you offer heals or shielding. So it means that you are very vulnerable to assassins and all-in type champions. And, sorry, let me just clean my glasses. I'm looking at FlyQuest. I see 4 champions out of 5 that all in. Yeah, that's correct.
I'd say that's an astute observation there, my friend.
Thank you.
Heal came through bot lane. Kitong goes down first. It's traded 1-for-1 now to not supportal combat, but ADC combat. Masu versus Wild Turtle. Ren stack starting to stack up here, but Wild Turtle getting lower and lower. Is it enough? No!
Oh, not enough!
The damage calculations, and Masu comes up clutch.
Let's go! Young, inexperienced player in Masu. Again, first year of competitive last year. And there it is. He seems to have improved this champ pool just a little bit. Nice little double kill for Fly's bottom lane.
We'll see that replay now beat down as it was initially a back on a ward here from Kitong. They immediately move forward. The heal comes through to try and get the speed up here, and Kitong goes back in.
Yeah, and again, not an enchanter necessarily, so this is why it's not as bad for Nautilus to go for that engage here. You trade your life, but you know Masu is going to secure a kill, and at this point, it's up to him to win that 1v1. And guess what, Bazel? He did. That's a nice lead going on for FlyQuest Challengers.
Something to play around as well in that bottom side, but it's a continuation of the back and forth nature that we've seen in this game, right? Where trading has been the name of the game. Svenskeren visiting that bot side now with Yuji not far behind him, but won't be able to find anything just yet.
Yeah, I mean, this next wave is going to be coming in pretty easily. I like that Masu and Kitong aren't actually stepping up at all. They recognize the timer that Svenskeren could be having here, and they end up avoiding the gank as the result. The only thing, though, is that, hey, Yuji, you're level 5. I don't know about this.
Still playing pretty aggressive with the fact that Spyrox was on his way down from mid lane as well, but again, nothing going to come of it just yet. Dragon is on the table, and it will be given over to TSM as they just take advantage of app rotations here, and FlyQuest seem to be just okay with letting this early game just go the way of TSM for a little bit.
I think it's fine. You let go of that first dragon. The bot lane's still going to half push naturally, so it's okay. This is a fine thing. The thing that's tough too is that Yuji needs a little time to farm because yeah, he spent a lot of time going for early plays, and I mean that's what Vi does. But between getting some of his camp stolen and the fact that Yuji has spent a lot more time ganking, he is behind in XP. He's been level 5 for quite some time, while Svenskeren already ticked over to level 6, has access to the Heartbreaker. So it means that Yuji gonna need to do a little time tending to his experience bar.
Yeah, 30 CS difference in the jungle, no big deal.
Yeah, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, hovering around that way as yeah, Yuji definitely as a player needs to get into the game. He's but dead. Doxa, yep, perfect execution, maybe back, doesn't do anything. Spyrox doesn't really have anything left. The 5-point strike, not enough, and Doxa survives.
Really nicely done. Kingslayer does a lot of work there, and Doxa stole the perfect execution with Hijack. So if this one goes well, Spyrox still probably won't have his Shroud for a couple more seconds, so he will be in trouble. Oh, wait a minute. No, surely he doesn't. Okay, he doesn't.
Look like he's just going to let that one go. I would say that's a good call from Spyrox. He does have Kitong on his way here, though.
Yeah, just to help with the shove. And you also get that rotate to help with the Rift Herald coming through here for the side of FlyQuest. You need to rotate your support up just because of the fact that, like I talked about it in draft, Gnar is really good at this point. Now he's approaching level 9. If he has the Mega Bar, he's really useful in these fights. So having Kitong up there just in case, I think is a really good move.
Need to be on the roams and getting involved in the team. With that Rift Herald here, though, speaking of involving with the team, Yuji, we need to find a place to put it. Let's say mid lane or top could be okay. Masu even having that lead on the bot side, maybe that's worth it. But where do you think Yuji should go ahead and utilize this advantage?
Bot lane. I think you look at the mid and bot lane of this team, each one of them have an ult that provides a lot of CC, and you're looking at Ashe Kalista. So not only is bot lane absolutely the play here, I mean, Svenskeren better be pathing towards that side because that is the best choice.
The arrow.
Oh, wait a minute.
The arrow just connected across map onto Philip. That was such a good shot from Chime.
And it's a nice play. You end up getting yourselves a lot of turret gold. And that's all well and good. However, again, this opens up that bot lane play that I was just talking about here. You see the move. Clearing out vision. Wild Turtle, he's pretty pushed up. So he's going to need to be on the move soon.
See Chime just do an excellent job of trying to catch out where FlyQuest are moving towards. You got 3 bodies in the middle for FlyQuest right now. Doxa playing pretty safe, though, with Svenskeren on his way out here as well to try and join the scuffle. See if anything happens. We get a replay at top side.
Yeah, and then we just see the arrow. We're going to get a nice
Arrow.
little view.
Look at that fadeaway.
Projectile cam, and look at it's the fadeaway. Chime's just walking the lane. He's like,
He
I knew that
threw
hit.
up the bar to symbol as well as it was connecting.
That's painful. There's nothing like it, Mazel. Really nicely done from the support of TSM Challengers. And it's part of what's keeping them pretty even in the game here, despite all that's happened. We're looking at 3-3 both sides. Or 3-3 even, I should say. And now it's Yuji. There's the onus to make a play because, again, he has the Rift Herald. A lot of value in his hands if he makes the correct choice.
Absolutely. And I still think, like, even with TSM having some changes to the roster inbound with Chime, obviously, I think it's been really interesting.
Wow,
Doxa
nicely done.
needs to have a little bit of change to maybe his mindset mid lane as he does get taken down. Great stuff from FlyQuest, but now on bot side, TSM are trying to make something happen. Her Wild Turtle in some trouble, has to burn the heal as well. Masu almost gets the second kill there as Svenskeren.
He's dead.
Nicely done. Masu
Really
does
nice.
get that second kill. Making good on it. Chime slowing him down. Yuji's here as well, though, to stop any further aggression from Svenskeren. And we do just get that trade back and forth.
Really nicely done from Masu and Kitong, and also a little bit of over-aggression from Wild Turtle Chime. Your jungler's on the way. You don't have to trade just yet, but they get antsy, they make the play, and it blows up in their face. You now have a 2-0-1 Varus to be dealing with on the enemy side, and it only gets tougher with the CC he provides to the rest of this team with such good all-in.
The all-in is the key potential here. I think we've already seen a lot of mechanics being displayed this game already, and speaking of, we get some more right on display in front of you here. But as we get to the next little bit, right, we have another dragon on the table. Second dragon would be to claim for TSM. We also need to look at some item completions. We got Divine Sunder for Svenskeren because of that early advantage he had, but Chempunk Chainsword right there for Yuji as well. Yuji drops the Rift Herald in mid lane. The setup is here for TSM to defend it.
Yeah, and that's what you... Oh, wait a minute.
They get the engage on a Svenskeren.
Nice
Cease and
ultimate.
desist as well. And Doxa might go down here. One more for Spyrax. That's huge stuff for FlyQuest as they get the charge, the turret plates, everything they came for.
It just doesn't get better than this, Lennon. They get it all, and they're going to get the dragon in the process. And it's just more... Spyrax? Okay, he doesn't take that. I mean, you're 3 levels up on the Ashe. You know, some people take that. But overall, really nice play, and you're really seeing FlyQuest start to solidify this lead in the early game. And it's tough. You said it, Svenskeren does have a lead for himself. He has the Divine Sunder built, but all across the map is struggles, with the one exception of Hanser, who is in a pretty decent position, and it's probably going to get better now that Chime's here.
They're going to try and punish Philip here, as Philip's goal here was to just not be a leaky sieve in the top side. He'll get away, actually, from the gank, having to burn that flash, but that's the goal, right? Like, you're winning everywhere else. You just need to not give up anything more in the top side of the map.
Yeah, it is brutal. Like, he's giving up a good amount of waves. No teleport means this next wave is gone too, but not giving up his life on top of it is that bit of minimizing the losses that are almost inevitable in these kinds of situations. And it's good because, like you said, they're winning everywhere else. FlyQuest are getting exactly what they want, and now they're ready to press that advantage here. You can see it. Spirax has the mythic build. Doxa has his, but you know how Rod goes. He needs 9 more minutes before it's actually a relevant purchase. which means that Spyrax is going to be able to push, roam, and if someone like Chime gets caught like that, they're gone.
Love the battle of the collegiate mid laners and Spyrax and Doxa in the come-ups for their careers. Now, Yuji catching out Doxa. Maybe I cursed him here. Is Chime just trying to help him out, but he's all by himself. He gets scared over the wall, but now he just gave himself up. He doesn't have Heartbreaker anymore, and that's 2 clean kills for FlyQuest. And an easy pickup at the end of some dominoes falling for TSM.
I was wondering if Yuji was going to turn around with that Q. But that's right. TSM falling apart at the moment here. Not a lot to show for the early game that they had. Now, since they've been 3-3, it's been 6 straight kills in favor of FlyQuest Challengers. And it's just going to keep getting harder. Second Rift Herald is up. Now, at this point, you can rotate Philip to that bot side, have your bot lane move up, and go make a play for the Rift Herald if you want. Or you can just go straight for it, too. You have a 3-1-3 Akali, and you have a 1-4 Silas. So you're feeling really good about your mid-jungle duo right now.
And let's talk about that mid-jungle duo a little bit more. I know I put some praise on Yuji, but Spyrax as a whole, right? Coming out of the Maryville University system, having been under FlyQuest, this is the 2nd year now for him. And honestly, going through a lot of growing pains. It feels like, as a whole, FlyQuest grew so much in their first year, just learning kind of from Diamond and kind of how to operate in certain situations. And it's interesting to see Spyrax's approach this year, where he wants to focus on his laning phase. He wants to focus on, besides communication, really hindering in this, or honing in this mid lane performance for himself. And we'll see actually in mid lane something happening as Chime uses the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, immediately cleansed by Masu.
Yeah, really nicely done. And just to continue real quickly on the Spyrax point is, he's been a player who's been really fun to watch too, because you said it, growing pains. But in the back half of summer last year, this dude really turned it up. I remember a Yasuo game in particular, which was crazy. FlyQuest were losing, but an insane last breath actually was the beginning of a turnaround here, which you love to see from members like Spyrax. And working on his laning, just trying to show up weaknesses, you love to see it.
Yeah, and it's funny to hear him when he talks about how he's kind of approaching this year, right? He says he tends to tunnel in on the matchups instead of knowing what's going to go on after the matchups, you know, after laning phase, and that's something else he's trying to work on. So knowing when and where to push this pressure as a 3-1 Akali is buying into that to some extent, and we'll see them take their new lanes in the top side of the map and continuing to see this collegiate mid laner battle between Doxa and Spyrax.
That's right. And now again, remember Doxa, struggle bus right now, but as time goes on, Silas does really start to come online, especially with the Roa purchase in a couple of minutes. That's really going to pay dividends. So until then, once that happens, you do want to keep an eye on Doxa as well. TSM in general, to be fair, they've been in this position before. This is what happened to them yesterday in Game 2 of their series against Dignitas. They were losing it out early. Things weren't really panning out for them, but they made the comeback in the mid-game, and that is still an option for them here.
Indeed it is, as an arrow goes wide from Chime. Haven't seen too many of those go wide just yet, but still interesting and quick cooldown to see how much Chime can hit those as well. And back into that mid-jungle conversation, I mean, you have to look also at that experience level and experience gained by TSM as a whole when they brought in Hanser, Svenskeren, Wild Turtle likes, right? Against a team who's definitely still working through strategies and things along those lines with FlyQuest.
Yeah.
In these kinds of moments, you have to expect that that does give them a little bit of a chip, right? And we see some of these plays being caught out here. Nice and done. As pulled back, I believe? I don't know. Philip over the wall with the flash, though. Dragon is the prize for FlyQuest. As the rest of TSM come across, Heartbreaker is there.
Chime has ult.
Garen. They're going to pull it off. Keaton goes in. Nope. The Dragon is secured by FlyQuest. Yuji over the wall into Wild Turtle now, though. Cease and desist. Look at the target calling from FlyQuest. It's so good. They catch out Doxa, who just arrived way too little and way too late to the party. FlyQuest wiped the floor with TSM Challengers.
And the lead just continues to grow for this team, Lennon. FlyQuest, like you said, excellent target selection coming through here. And just really good team coordination overall. Nothing gained for their efforts on the side of TSM, and we're going to see it here. I think what happened was that Hanser, while the Leap Strike was coming out, went for the Gnar ultimate.
Yep,
it was a nice little fun interaction there, but even then, Philip, you know, level 11, playing Jax, pretty tanky when you use the Grandmaster's mic. Just flashes right over the wall here. It only gets tougher because look at Doxa. Still hasn't joined the party. He still hasn't joined the party. And we're in this position where he is finally starting to channel, but so much has already happened.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's honestly just back to, I mean, Doxa arriving late is one thing, but I think FlyQuest as a whole taking advantage of the moment. Speaking of, maybe they need to turn this one around here. Charge goes through. Svenskeren, Heartbreaker out. There's the cease and desist on a Wild Turtle. They can't catch him, or do they? Counter-strike, and the ADC's down for TSM. Chains Corruption does connect in the end, actually, under Hansler. He throws up the emote. Will not go down, but Baron up in 3 seconds. Rift Herald falls in mid. FlyQuest might be looking for it.
I think it's theirs for the taking here. It's going to be so hard for you with the members alive of TSM to be able to do anything. And this lead will just continue to grow. You get money up front when you take the Baron. And of course, the Baron buff in itself, one of the greatest buffs in the game, being able to allow FlyQuest to continue to assert their dominance. They're going to be able to keep knocking down these towers. I mean, there's still an outer tower on the top side, so there's still so much more gold for FlyQuest to be able to get for themselves, and it's crazy to say that when they're already 7k up and objective bounties are here.
And I think the biggest matter-of-fact thing is that we are getting kind of the side lane push coming through for Hanser. He is up 50 CS in the side lane, so I think it's definitely a beast of burden right now. Yeah. FlyQuest need to kind of deal with, but we are getting to, you know, second items coming across for pretty much the entirety of FlyQuest except for Philip. And I think that those item spikes are going to be crucial when we're looking at those next objective fights, because FlyQuest are going to be looking for their soul point. They're going to be looking for as well the next little bit as they have the Baron.
So I think let's talk saving Grace, Lennon. And I'm going to preface it by saying there isn't much at the moment, but TSM do have some chances. You talked about, oh, wait a second.
You got FlyQuest. We get caught in the side. Philip, a little bit too slippery, maybe. Trying to catch him down is Svenskeren. Taking a lot of damage. Back in Beauty is coming through in the eye of the beholder. He flushes for it. Counter-strike comes through, and Philip, oh my god, he's still surviving for so long. This is ridiculous. Is he really going to do it? He's going to kill him. My god, Philip, my king. Is he going to die to Hanser, though? He does. But you'll take a 2-for-1 trade and a mid lane bursted open at the seams for FlyQuest.
And here's the problem. This is kind of what I was expecting TSM to do, to try and get something back on the map. But the problem is it costs so much to go after almost two item Jax. He just purchased the Frozen Heart. And Philip being so elusive, being able to turn that into going 1-for-1. Look what was lost in the interim. Both your inhibitors.
See Doxa here, though, trying to set something up. Traded back and forth out of Nautilus ultis. Hanser has Mega Gnar coming up here, but can't find the engage there. FlyQuest gets out.
And there it is. You don't end up losing the top inhibitor, but mid is down, and your top is exposed. TSM. Talking about death throws. I think I'm already starting to hear them on their side. And okay. We just now, 22 minutes, Doxa gets the upgrade on his Roa. He gets the level up from the XP, and even still, he is behind Spyrax. He's been having an excellent game so far on this Akali, and it's just been the name of the game for FlyQuest as a whole. Look at Yuji right now. Look at how confident he feels.
And for FlyQuest, right, they were wanting to shore up those late game decision makings. The biggest pain point for them was the fact they had advantages and were not able to close them out. And here we're seeing kind of that holistic adaptation from that, right? They did get an early lead. They are getting mid-game leads, and they are slamming home this advantage they've gotten for themselves.
Right. And they're handling it quite well, I think. You see, even though the mid is auto-pushing, Philip is escorting, picking up, farming as much of it as he can just to make sure that is in the base come Dragon time, which is right now. And it's perfect because he has teleport, he can go topside, he can take jungle camps before doing so, and just continuing to keep this map in this kind of chokehold against TSM challengers.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, the
children, cover your eyes.
Yeah, the strong point for TSM is gone. Maybe You know, maybe there's something to be said there, but I think Hanser will definitely want that one back, face checking the bush. But beautiful stuff from FlyQuest as they really want that the top inhib, not the last inhib.
Right, I mean, realistically, I think they're going to get it. And if TSM aren't careful, they're going to get more than that. I mean, China's a lot of poke here. Doxa has the ultimate. It's 4v3. If they're going to look, it has to be now. But with Yuji getting here, it becomes that much more precarious.
It does indeed. Now FlyQuest are just moving forward as Counter-Strike connects on to Doxa, who goes golden shortly after. They have Hanser coming back now, and I think FlyQuest realized that with a 5v5 fight like this, they need to back away.
Yeah, you're probably sitting on a good bit of gold, all things considered, and you're low enough that you don't want to be risking giving away any shutdown. So I like the call. Just back off. Base is in shambles. Really difficult for TSM to come back here. So now we're looking at FlyQuest, who are looking to try and close this game out. Dragon in 4 minutes. There's a chance they could close it out even before that.
They're all moving out single file out of the base here and trying to get this set up into the jungle as pings come down. But biggest thing is just waiting till these waves get into a position to push. You see Spyrex flipping out towards the top side. Does have his TP available here as Yuji. Looking for catch-outs as best as possible. Has the cease and desist coming up very, very soon. While TSM right now, they can just clear waves and hope for the best. But you got Baron coming up in 40 seconds. You'll wonder if FlyQuest just want to have that absolute cross of the T's and dot of the I's with that Baron.
I think at this point, that makes sense. But what they're really doing now, and you can see, is they have vision cleared out. There's very little sight available to TSM on even in their own jungle here, so they're just making sure that they can catch someone out like Hanser. When he got caught out minutes ago during the dragon fight, again, see right here, you're not supposed to go here. Yuji and Spyrex are happy to be the fun police in that regard.
You know, honestly, if that was the fun police, I'd invite them over. It's pretty good fun police, yeah.
They're good at their job. I'll give them that.
Maybe keep batting down here for TSM if they can navigate these next little bit. They're actually onto the map, so that's huge in the first place, as it feels like they wouldn't even be able to with the lead that FlyQuest have. But with the Baron started up now, TSM moving in to try to contest it. I don't know if that's going to go their way, though. Fitzgerald's just already dead. Spyrex goes over. He sees 3 members, and he wants more. Bates call from Chimes, just get him out of there. Chimes like, nope, I'm out. I'm out. Nope, he's not. He's not. Spyrex with his best horror performance, and maybe he's just Leatherface, as this is huge for FlyQuest to come out, take early advantages, and clean house in game number 1. TSM will have to go back to the drawing board as FlyQuest, off the backs of Spyrex, off the back of Masu, come up huge in our first of this best of 2.
And FlyQuest Challengers, they wanted to show that they could finish things out nice and smoothly. Well, that's a performance let-in that Mr. Clean would be proud of, because goddamn, they made it look easy.
We have Mr. Clean on the broadcast. Can we ask him?
That's true. Can we like when we come back, because we'll have Kang.
No, we get the no. All right, everyone, that was it for our first game of our last series. We'll be right back with the halftime bit. Don't go anywhere.